Welcome to In the Jumpseat with Jacqueline. In this series, we're going to meet the founder of a nonprofit organization. We're going to tour a bee farm, we're going to prepare some food with a world-class chef, and we're going to meet the owner of a small boutique right here in Okotoks, Alberta. So buckle your seatbelt and join me in the Jumpseat. In this episode, we're going to talk with Pamela Morgan. She's an entrepreneur and the founder of a nonprofit organization. Plus, we're going to talk with Tamara Anderson. She's the owner of a small business called Mint and Maple, right here in Okotoks, Alberta. Well, I'm so excited to be with Pamela Morgan. She is the CEO of Key Instincts here in Okotoks, Alberta, founder of Baby It's Cold Outside, which is a nonprofit organization. Is that correct?
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about your nonprofit organization, what it is, who it is for, what demographic, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the pandemic.
Sure.
And how that affected you.
So Baby It's Cold Outside was founded, I want to say 17 years ago. It seems like yesterday, but about 17 years ago. And where it originated was for vulnerable citizens, right? Okay. Our whole purpose is to offer a hand up to those in need. Big difference between a hand out versus a hand up. We all have challenges in our life. So we want to be here for the Foothills community. We also do have a chapter in Lethbridge. When we're thinking demographics, it is everyone and anyone, right? You just don't know, from youth that are couch surfing to folks that are just have fallen on hard times. And Alberta right now, not just pandemic, but prior to, we were struggling. You know, we've been struggling for quite a few years. And even though we have individuals that do exceptionally well, we wanted to focus on the people that needed a little bit of a hand up. So that's what we do.
So when I think of Baby It's Cold Outside, I think of jackets and I think of boots and mitts, but it's not just about clothes. It's way more than that.
It for sure is. So we started doing clothing drives. That's where we originated from. Okay. And then we evolved into Christmas feasts for folks.
Oh, I love that.
So once a year, I think last year we served 49 families and 284 folks out of those families. So they all got a beautiful Christmas dinner specific to their culture, to their needs. They could cook with their family, and then all the children were allowed to also have a present under the Christmas tree. In some cases, we delivered that Christmas tree too. So that's the beauty about our Foothills community, is that we rally the troops, and everybody helps everyone. So we're very, very fortunate that we have that support community-wide and charity-wide. Right?
Wow.
We're all about collaboration here. And then to add another layer to this is we were recently awarded funding from the government of Alberta to support the mental health. So with that, with Headstrong, our initiative is to help entrepreneurs, their families, and their employees. So we'll come into your organization and help with really mental wellness, right? This is prior to pandemic. We were in a mental health crisis, and now coming on the other side of it. We've all turned the volume up on mental health, which is beautiful. That's the blessing that has come from a pandemic. You got to find those blessings, right?
Absolutely.
And run with that. And it really is showing the resiliency within our community, that they want to support each other in this capacity. So huge honor for us. I do have to say Abe Brown is a co-founder to Headstrong. He's a great partner to have, and we're moving the dial, and we're really happy about that.
Well, when you talk about mental health, we know that Alberta, coming through, but also prior to COVID, there was a lot of suicides, there was a lot of different mental health issues that happened, but they didn't get highlighted. Can you speak to that? Because I kind of feel like it was there, but it was really pushed to the side. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely, Jacqueline. And I think, again, we're moving that dial there, and we're starting to change the narrative.
Okay.
I know traditionally we always looked at mental health as mental illness,
Right.
that there was something severe wrong with you, that
Exactly,
you needed
yes.
all of these things, maybe hospitalization. I'm not saying you still don't. You might need medication. You also need counseling. You need someone to talk to, someone that can help you navigate and find your resiliency. I think it's important to remember we're not resilient every day.
Exactly,
right?
That's right. We're not meant to be.
No,
I don't think.
Right? So you need to kind of dig down a little deeper, and just having support, whether that's a psychologist or coaching, or we help your family member, whatever that needs to look like. My purpose, honestly, is blending all of Baby It's Cold Outside, Headstrong, and Key Instincts all under one umbrella to support our business communities moving forward, that we're looking at mental wellness, the total health of a company. And it starts here. And it starts here. So in order to be resilient, we have to sometimes do some homework and go through some growing pains. And we do multiple times in our life.
Absolutely, we do. Yeah, every time we make a change. And just a change in itself doesn't mean that there's something bad or wrong. It just means we just need to change something to just make it better.
Right. If you look back at when we started in the pandemic, there was a time of uncertainty. And with uncertainty, there's fear. And fear is a good thing to have. We don't want to downplay fear. Fear is a great thing to have because it stops us from going into that burning building, right? It makes us be cautious. But once we start to navigate through the steps to support that fear and to legitimize whether it's valid or not, then we can start moving the dial a little bit and going, okay, so it's going to be okay, and understanding it's going to be okay. And then having support systems, family members, employees, friends, say it's okay not to be okay, but now giving the tools.
That's right. I agree, Pamela. Because you can't just say, you're going to be okay, like just have a good sleep and you'll be fine. Like sometimes people need a little bit more than that, or a lot more than that, depending on their situation.
Right.
So I think you've answered that question really well. But let's make it a little bit broader, and let's talk about our businesses in Okotoks. How have they navigated through COVID from your perspective? Because you really have your thumb on the pulse of what's happening in the business community for Okotoks. And so we want to know that. We want to hear just how was it? We've heard stories, and our episodes have talked with different businesses about how they have navigated through it and on the other side. But what's your take on it?
Well, here in Alberta in general, and definitely in the foothills, we have a get her done attitude, right?
We really do.
Right? And we challenged that through the pandemic for sure, of hunkering down, pulling your bootstraps up, all of those wonderful analogies that we have. But we're doing it smarter. And I think we really have to take pride in how we're coming on the other side of this. I'm not downplaying. There's been sorrow, there's been hard times.
Yes,
By no means am I doing that. And I've seen those challenges, and some of my clients were part of those challenges. However, there is a good story to tell. And there's businesses opening. And there's people that have now been able, business leaders that have navigated and pivoted so beautifully that should this happen again, please don't let it happen again, but should it, we're going to go through it.
Yeah.
Guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
And again, I need to go back to that resiliency that we have, that we showed up, we were brave, we were courageous, all those powerful words, we really did that. And there's a lot of good stories to tell. And I hope from your episodes that we can tell those good stories.
Yeah.
We got to get that word out. I know there's really good stuff happening too. So the more energy I think we put into that, the better off we can be, right?
I want to hear more about how they're doing and what your perspective is. So why don't we head into town, grab a coffee, and we'll just talk more about that. I really like this one line, and I'm going to read it so I get it right. You understand and embrace the definition of collaboration. And I can attest to that and affirm that. You have been such a great connector. And I hear that every step I go in this town on this journey for this show, that you have just been connecting people here and there. And people say that. It's not just a, oh yeah, she's great. It's like, oh, isn't she wonderful? You are president of the Okotoks Business Association, and you sit on the board of chambers. And what else do you do? Because I can't keep up.
I love being part of the community, the business community as well as the residential community. So I've had the privilege of living here for 24 years. And in that, I've just embraced every moment. You know, when we moved to Okotoks, there was 7,000 people, one traffic light, one grocery store, and the beauty of Okotoks is it still has that small town feel, and that speaks directly to the collaboration. I just think it's so important. There's enough for everyone. And if we work together for a common goal, can you imagine how powerful we can be, right? And it goes back to my phrase of the power of one. So the power of one, it only takes one person to create that change, and the ripple effect, that the cause and effect that comes from that is so beautiful.
Wow.
So that's really what my goal is while I'm here in this community.
Thank you, Pamela, for just sharing your entrepreneurial heart with us and your love for this community. It's evident, and I'm just so thankful for your time today. So thank you for coming out and just sharing a little bit more about Okotoks.
Thanks so much, Jacqueline. I just sincerely enjoyed my time with you today.
So we're here at Mint and Maple. The owner is Tamara Anderson, and we're gonna go meet her now. Come on, let's go. Well, I'm excited to be able to introduce you to Tamara Anderson. She is the owner of Mint and Maple Clothing Boutique here in Okotoks, Alberta. And a little fun fact is her clothes have dressed me all day. And for this whole show, actually, for each episode, you have been an amazing stylist for me.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you.
It's been an honor to be part of your crew. So thank you for reaching out to me and coming. And little did you know that I actually have a background in fashion styling. So
it's true. The more I got to know you and hear your story, I was like, this girl is crazy. Not just from when I first met her, but your history. So that's just a great segue. So tell us about your background and how you got started in Mint and Maple.
Sure. So I guess my love of fashion goes way, way, way back to, you know, the beginnings of time for me. But I had, when I was done high school, I really wanted to take something in school that I loved, and so I decided to take fashion merchandising, and I went through that program and was super excited about moving to New York City. I'm gonna have a career in fashion, and I had sort of this one-track idea of what I wanted to do with my life. Well, I got a little derailed when I met my husband and had kids. So,
oh, don't we all?
I know, it's been obviously a fantastic experience being a mom, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it did give me some time to kind of put things on hold and maybe change my perspective a little bit. So when this opportunity kind of fell in my lap to take over the shop here in town, I just thought to myself, you know, I've been kind of on this journey over the last 5 years of really trying to get out of my comfort zone. I just thought, I'm just gonna say yes. I'm just gonna say yes. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go all in. And that's what I've done. And I don't have any regrets. I feel like I am in my place now. It's very satisfying to feel like I'm doing the thing, you know, that makes me feel passionate. And working with other people too is honestly one of the greatest parts of doing this type of a job. You know, I love the fashion, but I also love the people, and that that puts a lot of meaning into it for me.
For some of us, it's like, let's get to the heart of the matter. Like, where are things at? Because, as we know, coming through the pandemic, life has been difficult for some, easier for others.
Yes.
You know, there's been lots of negative, but there's also been some positive. How have you been able to navigate through the pandemic with your store that still seems to be doing well?
Right. So energetically, it's been a lot, to be totally honest. It's been sort of a lot of waiting to find out sort of what will come down the pipe as far as like restrictions goes, and sort of waiting with bated breath, like, what are they going to say now? Do I have to shut down? And I basically had to decide that I was just going to go with the flow. There was a reason that this opportunity came, you know, for me, and not everything is in my control. But at the end, but at the end of the day, if I am laying down feeling like I did my best and I, you know, was doing something meaningful, then there's no such thing as failure. Really, right? I'm also aware that I don't have anything to compare it to, which I think for me has been made it a bit easier, because all I know is having a shop during COVID. I don't know pre-COVID business life.
Well, when did you get?
September is when I opened.
Of 2019?
Of 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been just an uphill battle for me. I actually feel like if I can get through this, then everything else is just gonna like be gravy. Hopefully.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's made me think super creatively and get outside the box. And I'm having fun. Most days I'm having fun. You know, one of the hardest things has just been interacting with people that have come into the shop that I can tell are feeling really negatively about the state of the world, or afraid, you know, about going out, and or disenchanted with, like, I've heard a lot of like, oh, I love this, but where would I wear it? I have nowhere to wear it.
Right.
People are definitely on the upswing.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah, and that is been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been so great to visit with people that are like, I'm going to a wedding, or like just excited about life again.
Well, and the business community in Okotoks is really, I'm learning more and more how strong it is. They want to succeed as a whole.
Yeah, there is a real energy like that here that I personally feel amongst the business owners. There's a real love of what people are doing. And so I feel like we all kind of play off of each other, like sense that like our own personal passions, and just want to support and see each other succeed. And I do feel like having a business like I have, and having started up when I did in a town like Okotoks, I don't know that it would have worked as well if I wasn't in a place like Okotoks. Like, people really have gone out of their way to shop local, and they have gone out of their way to show love and support. I've received messages, like voice messages on my Instagram from people who are like, I just want to tell you, like, I hope you have a beautiful day. Yeah, people are wonderful. Those little tiny kindnesses, they're huge. So
your story is exactly the types of stories that we want to get out there about the resilience of the Okotoks community, because you started in the middle of a pandemic. Seriously, like, did anybody go, what are you thinking? Because I would have been saying that.
Nobody honestly really pushed back. All I got was support.
Nice.
I think I was the one that was like, is this a wise business decision to like do this at this time? At the end of the day, I realized there's no good time to take a risk. You can always find a great reason to not do a thing, but I wanted to do my thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go all in.
Well, I love it. I love your clothes.
Thank you.
You've been such a great stylist for me. I'm just really appreciative of it. And everything fit to a T. We didn't have to adjust anything, really.
No.
It was just a matter of what we wanted or what we didn't want.
Yeah, it was
for the
super
fitting.
fun.
It was very easy, and it was a dream come true for me. And so tell us what kind of clothes, because I'm loving my casual, really fun look, but what kind of clothes do you have here in the store? Is it a male, female?
Well, I have all women's clothing in the shop, and I really try and select things that are comfortable. So whether you're going to be wearing it for a casual day or to the office or to a party or whatever, it needs to be comfortable. That's sort of my MO. I try and bring in any Canadian brands I can find. I have some local things.
Great.
I really do love any time I can find a Canadian or a local brand. I get very excited about it. So I'm always keeping my eyes out for that. I've got some beautiful jewelry. Most of it's locally made. We just have so many talented artisans in this area that finding jewelry locally made is honestly not difficult. There's so many talented women around. I haven't met any men that make jewelry, but
I'm sure there's some out there. We'll find
where
some.
are you?
You know where to find her at Minton Maple.
Come and say hello. So yeah, I have all women's clothing, and I don't have a lot of space, so which is
actually it's a plus for you, isn't it?
Yes. So I try and keep it tight so that you can come in, you can see what works for you, see what works together, but not like an overwhelming amount of options, if you will. So it's a little bit like shopping in my closet.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Well, I love that term, actually, shopping in my closet. That's maybe that's my next show.
There you go. Ooh, can I be a part of it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's much tidier than my closet at home, to be honest. But
thank you again just for allowing us to just hear your story and talk about your journey and making it through COVID, and not just making it, but like thriving through it. So thank you for being on this episode of In the Jumpseat with Jacqueline.